Good morning, students. In this video, we are going to discuss about stress strain curve. Stress strain curve. See, and we are going to observe how the stress and strain are related. Stress is nothing but a force per unit area. We have discussed already in the previous class, and strain is nothing but change in length by original length. Here in a standard test, when a cylinder of some material is taken, when applied force is there on the cylinder, because of the applied force there is a change in length in the material. That is, change in length per original length is nothing but strain, and force per unit area is nothing but stress. Okay, now I am going to analyze the stress strain relationship here. Okay, see here we are taking stress on y-axis and strain on x-axis. We know when force is applied, that is force per unit area is nothing but stress. The other day we have discussed about Hooke's law. As per Hooke's law, stress is proportional to strain. That means there is a stress. We have taken stress is equal to some constant k into strain. We have taken stress on y-axis equal to some constant into strain on x-axis. It is nothing but a straight line equation, that is linear equation. So up to certain point, stress and strain are linear. Okay, see here. As stress increases, strain also increases like this. As stress increases, strain increases like this up to certain point OA. Okay, see here OA is called as, OA is nothing but linear region in which Hooke's law is obeyed, for which stress and strain are stress are proportional to each other. Okay, so next, beyond point A, if we apply stress, more stress, if you increase the stress further beyond point A, for small increase in stress, the strain will be more. The strain is taken on x-axis. The strain will be more. Say, up to certain point B, consider this as point B. Okay, so from A to B, if you release the particle, if you release the object, if you remove the applied force at point B, the body will regain its original shape and size. But in between A and B, the graph is not linear. So, in the region from A to B, in this region, in this region, stress and strain, stress and strain are not proportional, are not proportional. Hooke's law does not obey in this region, but when you remove force, when you remove force, applied force at point B, the body will regain its original dimensions. Original dimensions. It will reach to original dimensions. That is, point B is called as yield point or elastic limit, and corresponding stress is called yield strength. The stress at point B is called as the yield strength. Okay, see here, the point B is called as yield point or elastic limit, and the stress at point B, this stress is called as yield strength. This stress is called as yield strength. See here, when force applied is more, if the force applied increases gradually beyond point D, for small increase in stress, the strain is taken on x-axis. The strain will be more for small increase in stress. This will be observed till point D. This is nothing but point D. So, for gradual increase in stress beyond point D, the strain will be more. For example, say at point C, if we remove applied force at point C, the body will not regain its original dimensions. The body will not come to point O when we release at point C. When we release the force at point C, the body will come to some other position like this. Okay, so that means even stress is 0 at point C. Even for stress equal to 0, strain is not equal to 0 in this case. So here, this is called as permanent set. We call this property as permanent set. And the behavior is called as the plastic behavior. Even for stress equal to 0, strain is not equal to 0 in this case. The material is said to be, the material is said to have a permanent set. Said to have a permanent set, and deformation is called, and the deformation is called as plastic deformation. Plastic deformation. Now, the point D on the graph, the point D on the graph point D on the graph is the ultimate tensile stress. Tensile stress or tensile strength. Beyond point D, if we increase the, if we even decrease the stress, the strain will be increased. The strain will be increased, and fracture occurs at some point E. At some point E. The point E is called as, the point E is called as fracture point. Fracture point. See here, if we increase, see, strain will be more. The strain will be more and more if we even decrease the stress. Stress is on y-axis. If we even reduce the stress, the strain will be more and more. At some point E, the material will be broken. The point E is called as the fracture point here. Okay, we call point E as the fracture point. If points D and E are close, the material is said to be, the material is said to be brittle. If they are far apart, the material is said to be, the material is said to be ductile. So here I am concluding this point. Voyer region is proportional region. O to B is elastic region. When applied force is removed at point B, the body will regain its original shape and size, and the respective stress at point B. Conclusions. These are conclusions. Stress at point B is called yield strength. yield strength, and stress at point D. Stress at point D is called ultimate tensile strength. Ultimate tensile strength, and point E is called fracture point. Fracture point. So this is the conclusion of the stress strain curve. Now we are going to discuss about elastic moduli. Elastic moduli. Okay, the elastic moduli are of three different types. That is, one is Young's modulus. Young's modulus. Second one is shear modulus or rigid modulus. We also call it as rigid modulus. And another one is, final one is bulk modulus. Bulk modulus. The other day we have discussed that the elastic modulus is defined as the ratio of stress and strain. The first elastic modulus that we are going to discuss is Young's modulus. Young's modulus is also one kind of elastic modulus. Young's modulus definition is the ratio of tensile stress or compressive stress in both the cases, whether it is tensile stress or compressive stress. The observations has concluded that the elongation is same in both the cases. Either we stretch the object or compress the object, the elongation, that is change in length, is same in both the cases. So Young's modulus is defined as tensile stress or compressive stress divided by longitudinal strain. Longitudinal strain. Okay, so here the Young's modulus is indicated with y. Y is equal to tensile stress, that is force per unit area, divided by longitudinal strain is nothing but delta L by L. Delta L by L. So that is force per unit area into L divided by delta L. The units of Young's modulus, units are force per unit area, the units are Newton per meter square, divided by the units for change in length by original length is nothing but no units. So Young's modulus have the units as same as the stress. So the units are Newton per meter square, which is equivalent to pascals. Pascals indicated with the PA. Okay. So the Young's modulus, elastic modulus, units are Newton per meter square or pascals, which are same as the stress units. Okay, this is all about Young's modulus. Here in the table, Young's modulus, elastic limit and tensile strengths of some materials are given in the table. We are going to discuss about them here. So, see students, here the Young's modulus of aluminium. Young's modulus of aluminium is, for aluminium, the Young's modulus is how much? 70 into 10 to the power of 9 Newton per meter square. And Young's modulus for copper is equal to 120 into 10 to the power of 9 Newton per meter square. Okay, and for iron For iron, the Young's modulus is about 190 into 10 to the power of 9 Newton per meter square. And Young's modulus for steel is equal to 200 into 10 to the power of 9 Newton per meter square. Among all aluminum, copper, iron and steel, the Young's modulus is more for steel. That's why we prefer steel in constructing buildings and etc. And elastic limit for aluminum is into 18 into 10 to the power of 7 Newton per meter square. 10 to the power of 7 term is there. And for copper, the elastic limit is 20 into 10 to the power of 7. For iron, 17 into 10 to the power of 7. For steel, 30 into 10 to the power of 7. Tensile strength is 20 into 10 to the power of 7. Ultimate tensile strength. For aluminum, 20 into 10 to the power of 7. For steel, it is 50 into 10 to the power of 7. Okay. For bone, the Young's modulus is, for tensile case, the Young's modulus is 16 into 10 to the power of 9. And for compressive stress, the Young's modulus is 9 into 10 to the power of 9. Okay. So these values will be useful in solving the problems. Now we are going to solve some examples on the basis of Young's modulus. Here I am going to solve the example number 1. Here the example number 1 is a structural steel rod has a radius of see here, a structural steel rod has a radius of 10 millimeters. So here radius r equal to 10 millimeters, that is 10 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meters, and length L is equal to 1 meter, and a 100 kilonewtons force stretches it along its length. So 100 force F is equal to 100 kilonewtons. Kilo is nothing but 10 to the power of 3 newtons. Stretches it along its length. Calculate stress. Elongation is nothing but delta L. We need to calculate delta L. And in point C, we need to calculate strain. Strain is nothing but delta L by L. We need to solve one by one. Here Young's modulus of structural steel is given as 2 into 10 to the power of 11 Newton per meter square. So here radius is given. We need to find out area. Area A is equal to pi r square. So pi into r is nothing but 10 into 10 to the power of minus 3 whole square. So we will get a value here, area value. So Young's modulus is equal to force per unit area divided by, first we need to solve part A. The part A is about, we need to solve for stress. Stress is nothing but force per unit area. Force is given as 100 into 10 to the power of 3 divided by area is pi into 10 to the power of 10 into 10 to the power of minus 3 whole square. By solving this, you will get the stress. And next we need to solve for elongation. We know that Young's modulus Y is equal to force per unit area divided by stress by strain, that is delta L by L. So here Young's modulus is equal to F into L by A delta L. So here delta L is equal to F into L by rearranging the term. When this delta M comes to this side, delta L is equal to F into L by A into Y. So here we know force is given, length is given which is equal to 1 meter. Area we found out, substitute the area value. Young's modulus is given 2 into 10 to the power of 11. Substitute on so that you will get delta L value here. Okay, on getting the delta L value, you need to find out the strain. Here strain is nothing but delta L by L. So just above we got delta L value, substitute the delta L here, and L is given as 1 meter. So substitute 1 meter so that you will get strain also in this case. And now we are going to discuss about discuss second problem. Example 10.2. Example number 10.2 here. Here 10.2 is talking about 10.2 is talking about, see here, a copper wire of length 2.2 meters, that is length of the copper wire is 2.2 meters and length of the steel wire is 1.6 meters. 1.6 meters, both of diameter 3 meters. So that is area of copper, area of steel is equal to pi d square by 4, where d is nothing but diameter. Diameter is same for both. D is equal to 3 millimeters here in this case. Are connected end to end. When stretched by a load, the net elongation is found to be. Net elongation means elongation in steel plus elongation in copper. The net is found to be 0.7 millimeters. Okay, and both are when stretched by a common load, that is load is same, force is same. Force is same in both the cases. Area also same. Area is also same. Why area is also same? Because the diameter is same in both the cases. So now here we know that Young's modulus y is equal to F into L by A delta L. So I am bringing F by A. So here force per unit area is equal to Y delta L divided by L. So force per area, force is same in both the cases, area is also same in both the cases. Therefore, force per unit area is also same. Force per unit area of steel is equal to force per unit area of copper. That is YC into delta LC by LC is equal to YS into delta LS divided by LS. Okay, I have equated them. We need to find out the load applied here. Our aim is to find out the load applied. Load applied is nothing but force applied. What is the force applied? Force, in order to find the force formula is nothing but F equal to Y delta L divided by Y delta L into A divided by L. Okay, Y delta L into A divided by L. We know Young's modulus of steel, and we know area, and we know length. What is not known, we need to find out delta L in order to find out the force applied, common force applied. He has given that the total elongation delta L in copper plus delta L in steel is equal to 0.7 mm. We need to find out delta LC is how much, delta LS is also how much here. Okay, if you know delta LC or delta LS, we can find out the force applied, right? So from this equation, delta LC divided by delta LS is equal to YS by YC into LC by LS. Okay, Young's modulus of steel is equal to approximately 2 into 10 to the power of 11 divided by Young's modulus of copper is 1.1 into 10 to the power of 11. 1.1 into 10 to the power of 11 into LC. LC is nothing but how much? Length of copper wire is 2.2 divided by LS. Length of steel wire is how much? 1.6. So here The 1.10 power 11 and 10 power 11 cancels out. So 1.1 into 2 is nothing but 2.2. So 2 into 2 is nothing but 4. 4 divided by 1.6. So now delta LC by delta LS is equal to 2 into 2 is nothing but 4 divided by 1.6. Okay. So that is nothing but 4 divided by 1.6 is nothing but 2.5. So here delta LC is equal to 2.5 delta LS. So from this equation, delta LC plus delta LS is equal to 0.7 mm. Okay, here delta LC can be written as 2.5 delta LS plus delta LS is equal to 0.7 mm. 2.5 plus 1 is nothing but 3.5 delta LS is equal to 0.7 mm. 0.7 mm. So delta LS is equal to 0.7 mm by 3.5. Okay, so delta LS is equal to, by using calculator we can find it out, 0.7 divided by 3.5 is nothing but 0.2 mm. So delta LS equal to 0.2 mm. So delta LC will become 0.5 mm, because by adding these two we should get 0.7. Okay, we got delta LS value and delta C value. Delta C is equal to 0.5. Delta LS and delta C value, delta LC value. So now our aim is to find out force applied. What is the common force applied? The formula for force applied is nothing but Y A delta L by L. Y A delta L by L. So force is nothing but Y of the steel, area of the steel, delta LS divided by LS. We know Young's modulus of the steel is 2 into 10 to the power of 11 into area is nothing but pi. Diameter is given as how much? Diameter equal to 3 mm. So radius is nothing but half of the diameter, that is nothing but 1.5 mm. So we know area is nothing but pi r square, that is 1.5 into 10 to the power of minus 3 whole square. Area is, find it out. Delta LS is nothing but 0.2 mm, that is 0.2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meters divided by LS. What is the length of steel? Length of the steel is given as 1.6 meters. So by finding out you will get the answer for load applied. Now I am going to give you some homework problems to solve at home. So which are similar, which are based on stress, strain and Young's modulus. I am going to give you them. Now, so here I will give you hints for these questions first. You can solve on your own. See here, first question is, the first one is a copper wire of 1 meter diameter. Diameter is given, radius is nothing but half of the diameter. So you can find out the area. Area is nothing but pi r square. And stretched by applying force is given. Force is also given, 10 newtons. Find the stress. Stress is nothing but force per unit area. So force per unit area. Solve it. And question number 2. In question number 2, a tungsten wire of length 20 centimeters. Length is given 20 centimeters and stretched by 0.1 centimeter. Delta L equal to 0.1 centimeter. Find the strain. Strain is nothing but delta L by L. So you should find it out. So second one is also done. And third one is nothing but if an iron wire is stretched by 1%. So that is delta L by L equal to 1%. That means 1% means 1 by 100. 1 by 100 is nothing but 0.01. So strain in the wire is 0.01. So it is done already. Next, fourth question. Fourth question is talking about a brass wire of diameter 1 millimeter and length 2 meters is stretched by applying a force of 20 newtons. He has given delta L value. He has given diameter. He has given diameter, so you can find it out. Radius is nothing but half of the diameter. After finding out the radius, you can find it out area. Okay, so next you can find out area. Length is also given and applied force is also given. If the increase in its length is 0.1 mm, delta L is also given. 0.1 mm is delta L. And find the stress. Stress is nothing but what? Force per unit area. Force per unit area. You can find it out. And the second thing that you need to find out is what? Strain. Strain is nothing but delta L by L. Delta L is known. L is also given. So you can find it out easily. And third one is nothing but you need to find out what? The Young's modulus of the wire. Young's modulus is nothing but F into L by A delta L. You know F value, L value, A value and delta L value, so that you can find the Young's modulus easily. So this is all about fourth question. Now I am going to give you hint for fifth question. A copper wire and an aluminum wire have lengths in the ratio of length of the copper wire to length of the aluminum wire is equal to 3 by 2. The ratio is 3 by 2. The diameters in the ratio. So here the diameters in the ratio of 2:3. So radius ratio also will be 2:3. So radius of copper to radius of aluminum is equal to how much? 2:3. And the forces applied in the ratio of force on copper wire to force on aluminum wire is equal to how much? 4:5. 4:5. Find the ratio of increase in length of the two wires. We need to find the ratio of increase in lengths of the two wires. Increase in length is nothing but delta L by delta L. Delta L of copper to. Find the ratio of delta L of copper to delta L of aluminum. Okay, we need to find out this. And he has given that Young's modulus of copper is given, Young's modulus of aluminum is also given here. So we need to find out delta LC by delta L. So here we know the Young's modulus formula is given by Y equal to F into L by A delta L. So we should know the answer for delta L. So here delta L is equal to F into L by A into Y. F into L by A into Y. So for delta L of copper, force on copper into length of copper divided by area of copper into Young's modulus of copper. This is a relation for copper. Similarly, write the relation for delta L of aluminum is nothing but force of aluminum, length of aluminum divided by area of aluminum bar into Young's modulus of aluminum. So here I am dividing delta LC by delta L of aluminum. Divide both sides. Okay, taking the ratio of delta LC by delta L of aluminum. Delta L of copper by delta L of aluminum, that is equal to, see here, FC by AC into LC by YC into, when this comes to numerator, it will become area of aluminum by force of aluminum into this one. This Y comes to numerator, Young's modulus of aluminum by length of aluminum. These terms you will get. So I am arranging ratio of force to force, that is nothing but FC divided by FAL into length. Next, LC divided by L of aluminum. Next, area of aluminum to area of copper. Next, Young's modulus of aluminum to Young's modulus of copper. Okay, we know these ratios. Force ratios are there, length ratios are there, and area ratios are there. Area is nothing but pi r square. You should do it. So radius ratios are there, and Young's modulus also given. Young's modulus for aluminum is given. Young's modulus for copper is also given. Area is nothing but area of, I am just writing this one here. Area of aluminum to area of copper is equal to pi r square divided by pi r square. Radius of copper whole square. Pi cancels. So radius of aluminum to radius of copper whole square. So just write area of aluminum to area of copper. In that place just write this term, and this term radius of aluminum to radius of copper is given. Radius of copper to aluminum is given. So radius of aluminum to radius of copper equal to reciprocal of this one is nothing but 1, 2, 3 by 2. Radius of copper to aluminum is 2 by 3. Radius of aluminum to copper is nothing but reverse of this one, reciprocal of this one, 3 by 2. Okay, substitute these values here so that you will get the answer for delta L of copper to delta L of aluminum. You will get the answer for this question. Okay, so this is all about explanation for problem number 5, and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the next easy one is there are two wires of same material. Problem number 7 is, there are two wires of same material. So Young's modulus is same. Their radii and lengths both are in the ratio of radius of material 1 to material 2 is equal to 1:2, and length of material 1 to length of material 2 is also 1:2. And here Young's modulus is same means y1 by y2 is equal to 1. Ratio of y1 to y2, Young's modulus is equal to 1. If the extensions produced are equal, extensions produced is nothing but delta L in first wire to delta L of second wire is also equal to 1 because they are same. What is the ratio of loads? Ratio of loads, that is force on first one to force applied on second one is how much? What is this ratio? So here we know the Young's modulus formula is given by F into L by A delta L. F into L by A delta L. F is equal to Y A delta L by L. From this you can find out the ratios. Again do the same practice here, that is F1. Write the formula for F1. So here F1 is equal to Y1 A1 delta L1 by L1. Similarly write the formula for F2 here. F2 is equal to Y2 A2 delta L2 by L2. So just do the ratio of these two. So here you will get F1 to F2. F1 by F2 is equal to Y1 A1 delta L1 by L1 into, this will come to numerator, L2 divided by, this will be in denominator, Y2 A2 delta L2. We know the ratio of Y1 to Y2, A1 to A2 also known. Ratio of delta L1 to L2 is also known. Ratio of L1 to L2 is also known. So you can find out the answer for F1 to F2 ratio also. Okay. Now come to problem number 8. Come to problem number 8. Here problem number 8 is nothing but two wires of different material have same length and area of cross section. Two wires are there. What is the ratio of their increase in length when force applied are same? So here two different wires are there. That is Young's modulus is different. Young's modulus of first one is nothing but 0.9 into 10 to the power of 11 Newton per meter square. Young's modulus of second wire is 3.6 into 10 to the power of 11 Newton per meter square. And two wires of different material have same length. So L1 equal to L2 and the area of cross section is also same. A1 is also equal to A2. And what is the ratio of their increase in length when force applied are same? Force applied F1 is equal to F2. What is the ratio of increase in length? Delta L1 divided by delta L2 is how much? Do the same thing. We know that delta L formula is nothing but we know Young's modulus y equal to F into L by A delta L. So delta L formula is nothing but delta L equal to F into L by A into Y. So delta L1 is nothing but, so here delta L1 to delta L2 we need to find out. Delta L1 is nothing but F1 L1 by A1 Y1 divided by delta L2 is nothing but F2 L2 by A2 Y2. So everything is given. Solve this question also. Next, question number 9. A metal wire of length 2.5 meter and area of cross section 1.5 into 10 to the power of minus 6 meter square is stretched through delta L is given. This is nothing but delta L. This is nothing but area of cross section. This is nothing but length 2.5 and Young's modulus is also given. Find the tension in the wire. So we need to find out the force. The formula for force is nothing but here force F equal to applied force F equal to Y A delta L by L. From this equation you can find out Y. So when this A into delta L comes to this side, so Y into A into delta L divided by L. This L comes to denominator. So by using this formula you can find out the solution for problem number 9 also. So the homework is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 and 9. Solve all these problems. Thank you.